Okay, right now I am going to mute everyone so that you won't have the opportunity to unmute yourself until we do so that we will have a very quiet background as we go, as we proceed. And for our information, this is being recorded. Hopefully, if we have good network, then we would have a very seamless session, and it will be recorded. Okay, so I am going to project what we'll be discussing this morning. Okay, as you can see, this is an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to create a new one. The purpose for this class is to give the youth the opportunity to learn early the skills that they may require during their work days. And you will also find it useful while in school, especially when you have to do some data management. Some of us may be involved in research, and you need to collect and manage your data. You need to keep record of the things that you are doing. So it is very important. Okay, let me see what I can do to adjust that. Please, I need this kind of feedbacks. One family, you said the audio is low. How about now? Can you hear me clearly? And I need feedback from others. Is it very low from your end? Let's be sure if it's coming from my end or from individual network end. Is it better now? Okay, so I haven't received any feedback yet, so I'll just continue. So one of the reasons why I felt like bringing this up is to equip the youth who are growing up to take up positions later in life. Even in your work at school, you will have need to manage data. You have need to manage a list. You have need to manage other things that you would maybe need to make some calculations. Excel is a very powerful tool, a very powerful program that finds its use almost in every office, every ministry, every sector. So it's important that we know this application, and the earlier we're exposed to it, the better we will be when it becomes very needful for us to use it. Okay, so as a word of introduction, Excel has, when you open a new Excel file, if you open a new one, what you open is called a workbook. It's just like an exercise book. That's why it's called a workbook. And you know that in exercise book, especially, is it the 2A those days where it's like we use it for mathematics, where there are cells. Now, as you open a page, each page are just ruled with small squares. This is how Excel is. So when you open a new Excel, what you open is a book. It's called a workbook. And then each of these that we see here are called the sheets. So they are just like the pages of your exercise book. And the flexibility we have is that you can decide to include more sheets. For instance, I have this one sheet down here. I can click here to create a new one. And as you creating new one, they are labeled. Just like your exercise book, you can label the pages, page 1, page 2, so you can make reference to them. So you can add more pages. And for Excel, you are adding more sheets. And you can see that they have names. Now, for each page like this is called a spreadsheet. So this means that a workbook, an Excel workbook, is made up of sheets, spreadsheets. And each spreadsheet is made up of cells. Each of these small squares or rectangles that you are seeing, they are called cells. Now, the spreadsheet is bound vertically like this. Okay, I guess it's a network. Judah, you say it pauses when I am saying something. I guess it's network. Okay, so let's see how network will improve. Okay, so I was saying that each of these cells is bound or identified by a vertical line. All these vertical columns, they are called columns. This one that I'm clicking, and they are identified by these letters from A, B, C. These are columns. So if I say, let's go to column K, this is column K. Let's go to column D, this is column D. And then it also has rows, and the rows are identified by numbers. So you see this is rule 5, rule 6, rule 17, rule 8. Now, or rule 10. Now, wherever you click, for instance, I am clicking here, I can remove my mouse, this place is highlighted. So this selected cell, it has address. And the address of this cell is defined by the location where this column meets with the row. For instance, here, I'm going to highlight this to make it green. So this point that is highlighted green has an address, and that address is identified by the letter. The letter is H because it's in column H, and also the row. The row is 8 because it's in row 8. So this cell address is H8. And here you can also see that here, this is a name box. This is called name box. So it gives you the name of the cell that you have selected. If I come here and let's change this to a different color. This is K and this is 8. So the cell address is K8. Now, every cell can take either a text, a number, a formula, a function, or date. It can take any of these formats. Now, for instance, I can come to, by now you will know that this is B2. So I'm going to cell B2 and I'm going to type Abia. When I enter, it has accepted what I have inputted. Now, by default, when you enter a text in Excel, it is aligned towards the left by default. If I put number here, 2020, and I enter, it goes to the right. So numbers are aligned towards the right by default. However, I can change this to suit my alignment that I want. For instance, this is Abia, which is by default aligned towards the left. I can bring it to the right. Let me expand this. I can bring this to the right by coming to this alignment. And this my alignment is under my ribbon tabs. So when I come here, I click, say I want it to come to the right alignment. See, when you put your cursor there, Excel tells you what it is. This is right alignment. So when I click it, the Abia is going towards the right. And when I click away from here, you will see that this is highlighted, which means it was customized. So you see it highlighted. If I click this and I click towards the left, this is left alignment, the number is going towards the left. I click, it goes. Now, wherever you align your text in a cell, it is based on what you want to achieve. I can also decide to bring it to the middle. This is center alignment. When I click this, it goes to the middle. When I click, it goes to the middle. It depends on what I want to see. Now, it is also good to note that what we are doing is we are formatting. We are changing the way the cell looks. That is formatting. For instance, this is Abia, a text. I can make this to look different. I can come here and make it bold. When I click this, it becomes bolder. The size is 11. I can open this and I increase it to 14, which means it will be bigger. Of course, 14 is bigger than 11. So when I click, I have formatted this cell, the content of the cell. Again, note that whatever you put inside this cell is also duplicated here. This is your formula bar. It is called formula bar. So I can come here and type. Assuming I want to type in this H8, I may begin to type here, or I may simply come here because I have selected it. And of course, I know that this is H8. I can simply come and type in the number and in the formula bar here and begin to type. Say I am typing Umwa here. Right? When I enter, it holds. And of course, I can move this, my column. Remember, this is column as we said in the beginning. So I can actually move my column either to the right or to the left. This is the only way columns can move. And you can see that my cursor, once it moves towards these column headers, it changes structure. What you see, the icon changes. You see that it has two arrows pointing to left and right, which tells you these are the two directions that you can move and adjust the size. Now, if I come to rows, remember these are rows and they are numbered, while the columns are lettered. So if I bring my cursor to this point, you will see the arrows are pointing upward and downward, which means I can click and drag it downward or drag it upward. So my rows can be adjusted up and downwards, while my column can be adjusted right and left. Now, like we say, this is holding some content inside the cell, and we can adjust this to suit whatever we want to see. Now, inside this cell, it has a content and it has a space. Now, I can decide to change the color of what is inside it, and at the same time, I can change the color of the space. Two things are here. There is the content, which we see as Abia, and inside this cell is also a space. Now, let me demonstrate that. If I come here, this is my font. So it's telling me the real content, the content of this can be changed. If I decide to use red, I have used red, it did not change the space inside it. But this one, I may come here and say, I want to change the cell, the space. You see, I have changed the space inside the cell to carry yellow fill, whereas the content inside is still black. Let me increase this to 24. 24 is bigger than this. This is 14. This is 24. Okay, so you can change the way your cell looks by coming here in the font. For font, we can make it bold. We can also italize it. See what's going to happen to 2020 when I click this. It becomes italicized. I can go ahead and also make an underline. I will apply underline. Now, when you see this, it means there are still other options that you can apply. Let's open and see what. Assuming you want to get double underline, I can come here and do it. And when I click it, it is double underline. Now here, so for this, I can also apply other formats. Let me click out and you see, there are no borders. So I can apply a border. Now let me put a border here in Abia. I open here, I click all borders. When I click this, let me click out so you see the borders that I have applied. There are tiny borders around it. Now, when I click here, I want a different border. I want it to be thick. So I click this. Let me click outside. You see it's thicker. So depending on what you want your viewers to see, or depending on the work you are doing, you can actually design your cell differently. Now, inside here, there are other things that we can apply. For instance, I can decide that the borders here, I want it a different color. Say I like to put red around it. I can simply come here and go to line border. By default, it's black, it's automatic, so it's black. Black is automatic. So, but if I decide to click here, this is red. And then it's going to give me a pen. See? This is a pen. So wherever I draw this, it's going to give me that color. For instance, I want it here. This is red. I want it here. This is red. I want it here. And I want it here. So here is red. Okay? So these are the different ways you can format your cell. You can put content into the cell. You can change the way the font looks. You can change the space inside the cell. Now, remember that what we are dealing with now is cell basics. And we know that cell, they are the smallest building blocks of anything. And for us here in Microsoft Excel, the cell is the smallest building block for the spreadsheet. Now, let's look at cell range. If we click here, this is D6, as we can see here. I can select up to 2. And so when I'm selecting 2, I have included row 7. So this becomes a range. So we talk about cell range when we select more than one cell. Right now, I'm going to demonstrate something. I click from here to here. Let me make it, let me differentiate it. So you see that it is beginning from this point is what? D6. So this is D6. And the last one is what? D10. So this is D10. So when I am referring to a cell range, it is defined by the beginning of the range and the end of the range. So let me expand this, and I'll tell us that this cell range now is D6. And then, because it's a range, I'm going to put a full colon, D10. So this is the cell range, this one that is selected. Now, let me use this opportunity now to tell us that we can also merge our cells. You know what it means to merge? You are bringing 2 or more things together to become one. So I'm going to merge this and this. So I am selecting the cell that I want to merge. I am coming to my alignment. I am going to click merge and center. This is by default. I can decide to merge and center. I can decide to merge across. I can decide to merge cells however I want. So by default, is merge and center. See what's going to happen to that selected range. I merge it. All this, they have become one. One, this is row 1. This is row 1. Let me stay. This is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. So these 5 rows, they are merged into one. And when you merge cells, the one that is the beginning is usually the one that bears the reference. For instance, we started, you see that this is F, and at this point, it's 6. So this is supposed to be F6. And now, when we merge, the entire merged cell still bears this name, F6. Now, I want to bring this to the middle. So I come here, I can click this, middle alignment. It comes to the middle. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can use to manipulate. Excel is so vast that you need to get the basics and then you begin to teach yourself some of the things that you need to do, both in Excel basics. I am running a class right now. People who have been using Excel for several years, when I began to teach them about cell basics, they realized that they didn't know what they ought to know about Excel. And knowing what they know now is enhancing their work, the way they work with Excel. Excel is something, there was a video I made early this morning. A task that can take somebody 2-3 hours to work out, you can do that in less than 5 minutes. I have shared that video on YouTube and it's going very far right now. So the reason why you need to study Excel is it will help to improve your efficiency. When we talk about efficiency, we're talking about minimal use of resources to achieve the maximum. Minimal resources in this case talks about time. Rather than spending 2 hours trying to work out a thing, somebody with good Excel skill can come and unravel that or solve that within 5 minutes. And most times it's less than that. So that's efficiency. Okay, so knowing these Excel basics are very, very important. Now, let me do something more about how we can work around cells, how we can modify our cells, how we can format our cells. Now, I have a list here. This is a list of the people, the youth who are participating in this class. I'm trying to find out if there is anyone I have missed here. Well, I'm going to update that, but this is for the purpose of this class now. Now, I have this. I just put all this together and I want to do something right now. Now, you see what I have just done? I selected these two. Excel is very smart. It can predict what you want to do. Let me tell you one thing. If I type 1 here and I type 2 here, and I come and select these two together, Excel is very smart to predict that you want to draw a series. And then the next numbers that are going down are going to be difference of 1, 1, 1, 1. Why? Because you have given it the first two entries. And so it is able to figure that out. So what do we do, for instance? We do this, and when we come here, this arrow, our cursor has changed. I point away, you see how big the cross is? When I bring it to this point, you see it's different. So it changes depending on what you want to do. It's changing, but the moment I come to this point here, the lower part of the right selection, it changes. So when I click it and drag, if I click, hold and drag, I'm asking it to repeat the series that I have given it. So when I click, I'm clicking now, I am holding it, I am dragging down. It is realizing what I have selected. This is 1, 2, and it goes on. If I come here and I say 0, then the next one is 5, and I enter, and I select this. Excel is smart to predict that the next number here will be higher by 5. And then the next one above it will be higher by 5, because this one here is higher than this by 5. So when I select this, I guess you can also predict that's going to give me 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and so on and so forth. 5, 5. The same thing happens here. If I put 5 and I put 15 and I select the two of them, Excel is smart enough to say The next one will be a number that is higher than 15 by 10, because 15 is higher than 5 by 10. So when we hold there and drag down, we see that we have this is greater than this by 10. This is greater than this by 10. So Excel is smart to predict those things. Another thing that Excel can smartly predict is in the weeks, the days of the week, the months of the year. If I come here and I write month, it has seen this as Monday. And when I come here and click and hold and drag, it's going to predict that I want to mention the days of the week. When I come here and I write Jan, remember I haven't even written this in full, but Excel understands that this is the short form for January. And when I bring this cursor down here and it turns to this small cross, and I click and hold and drag down, it's going to predict and give me the remaining months of the year. Now, when I clicked these two, this Covenant University and Landmark, and I click here and drag down, it's telling me that since this is a text, it has no universal chronology or sequence. So it's going to repeat Covenant Landmark, Covenant University Landmark, Covenant University Landmark, and so on and so forth. You see, this is this is this. Okay, so let's get back to what I wanted to explain here. Now, we want to, somebody has asked you, please, for the Covenant University, anyone that is in Covenant University, we want you to highlight the cell space in yellow. I've done this one. This is one operation. That same person, change the font to red. 2. This is second operation. Make it bold. 3. That's 3 operation. Italize it. 4. Give it double underscore. 5. Make it at the center. Let it come to the center. Alignment. 6. Now, I have done this. And if I have several Covenant University running down, and I have several other names here, I can't go and begin to look for Covenant University here. Then I'll do this, apply bold, apply this, apply this, apply this, apply this, apply this, the 6 of them. Excel has a very smart way you can do it by 2 clicks. And that is using this format painter. Format painter. How does it work? Now, we are supposed, let me bring this out so I can really give a contrast between this and the rest. Now, I am going to look for Covenant University, and wherever I see Covenant University, I should click it. I should change this. All I need to do is, what is the operation I want to repeat? It is here. It is in this cell. What do? I just click here. I've selected what I want to duplicate. I come here and click Format Painter. You see those dash lines are dancing around what you want to do. Now, this is Uche is listed against Covenant University. And that is where I want to perform this 6 or 7 operation, but just once. I click here. It replaces everything that is here. I do not need to start looking at counting this. Let me do this 1. Yes, okay, this is Covenant University. Let me not look for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that all? Okay. It's going to take me time. But by simply doing this and clicking, it's done for me. So that's another way you can improve your efficiency while using Excel. Now, in Excel, you can copy what you have done to somewhere else. You can delete it. You can edit it. Now, let's see. Assuming this Covenant University, they say, no, this person is no longer going to Covenant University. It's going to Rema University. So that means I have to change this covenant. There are two ways I can do that. Remember, I say whatever you select here, it is seen here. So I can just bring my cursor, click here. My cursor is now dancing there. I can use my backspace, delete it, then I'll write Rema. I will enter. It has happened here. If you are not careful, you will begin to type that you want to edit, and you have a long list to edit. So the smartest way is to come here, click, and then go to the button you want to edit. That's one way you can edit what you have written in a text. Okay, so having demonstrated all this, I'm going to delete. So I've selected from here. I'm simply going to hit my delete button and everything disappears. Now I want this Nzube, this number, this cell to be duplicated to this point. So when I click here, there are two ways I can copy. It's either I will come to this, my clipboard. See this double, this is copy. When you see this, you know there is something still there. When you click here, are you going to copy as a picture, or you're going to just copy the way it is? We want to copy the way it is. So I am going to copy. When I hit this copy, you will see the dash lines around it. That means there is something that has happened to the clipboard. This now is inside this clipboard. So I want to bring it to here. I click here. This is where I want it to be. I can go back here and paste. So I paste. Now you have pasted. This thing is dancing. That means this thing is still on the clipboard. And this is highlighted, which means you can still paste it. So if I move here and click here, I can still paste. If I click here, I can still paste. As long as these dash lines are dancing around what I selected, I can still paste. Good. Now, if you do anything and you discover it's an error, you can undo. See this arrow here? This is to undo. If I click this, telling me there are several actions or options that I can choose from, I click this. These are all the actions that I have performed. It has recorded them. So, but if you want to undo the very last one you did, just click the very first one. Remember that the last one was this, we pasted. So what happens if we click the first undo? It clears. I also want to clear this. I'll still go ahead and undo. The moment you undo, the next thing that is in your clipboard that you have done is the next one. I do this. If this is all that I want, I am okay now. Now, I want to remove this. So it's either, there are several ways you can remove it. It's either you press your escape, which is what I have done, or you just go ahead and start typing somewhere, or you save what you're doing. So the best way is to press your escape button. Now, I told us there are two different ways I can copy. So I am going to copy sum to. I'm going to use my Control C. I am holding down my control button on my keyboard, and I'm at the same time pressing a C. So I have copied it. Now let me undo this. Look at this point as I'm going to hit my Control C. This paste option is not active. So you cannot paste anything because nothing is on the clipboard. You have not copied anything. But watch, at the moment I copy, you will see that this place becomes active. So I'm going to do Control C. It has become active, which means I can now go and paste. So I'm going to paste here. There are again different ways that I can paste. I can simply hit Control V, hold down my Control and then press my V. I'm holding my Control now. I'm putting my V. I have pasted it. You see the clipboard, the paste icon in the clipboard is still active and the dash line are still dancing around, which means I can still go ahead and paste somewhere. I come here, Control V. I come here, Control V. Come here, Control V. Come here. Now see, I am going to hit Enter. In Excel, when you copy something and you select somewhere and you hit Enter, that means I am done with the clipboard as far as what I have copied is concerned. Now see, I am going to hit Enter. What I have copied will duplicate here, but now this dash line will stop dancing and then here will go off, no longer active. I'm going to hit my Enter. It has pasted it. There are no dash lines dancing around this, and this is off. So that means I don't have anything in my clipboard. But hold it, I didn't want to do all this. I only wanted this. So let me undo. I've undone the first one. I undone that. I have undone this. I have undone this, and I have this left. So these are different ways you can copy and paste. I have shown us two different ways. Yet there is yet another way. And this one, lately in my class, and the class I'm making reference to, they are professionals working in NGOs, directors and high-ranking position people, but they didn't know some of this. Okay, so for you getting exposed to these basics of Excel, I want you to take it seriously because it will help you in future. Now, this is still dancing. I'm going to hit Escape to remove it. Now, I want to copy this. Remember that you can also copy a group or a range of cells. Let's use one of those techniques of copying. Control C. See, it's dancing around all the selected cells. I click here. This is where I want it. Control V or Enter. Good. But I only want this. I don't want this. So I will do Control Z. Control Z is undo. In most programs, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, even what you do on the internet, most programs use Control Z to undo whatever you have done. So I am going to do Control Z. And then what I selected is now back dancing. Okay, so I was going to tell us another way of copying and pasting. Now we have talked about Control C and Control V to copy and paste. We have also discussed coming to your clipboard here, clicking the copy and then pasting using the icons. But there's another way, and that way seems faster. Well, it depends on what you do. So I am going to copy this range of cells that I have selected, but I'm neither going to use my Control C nor going to use this icon. I'm simply going to carry my cursor is moving, and I'm going to bring it anywhere around this selected edge. This is the boundary of selection. And when I put it at any edge, it shows me arrows pointing to 4 different directions. You see, I've left it there. Right now, I am going to press and hold down my control button on my keyboard. See what's going to happen to that arrow? There is a plus. There is a plus sign. Let me zoom this so that maybe it is not very clear. All right. So I have brought this here and I'm going to hold down my control. The moment I start pressing the control button, you will see a positive sign. You will see a positive sign. See it. I hope you can see it. Now, as I am holding it down, I am clicking and dragging that away. I'm clicking and dragging it to wherever I want. If this is where I want, I've made a copy of it. Actually, I made a mistake. What I did finally was to cut it. Let me undo. What I'm supposed to do is I am holding this, my control down. I bring it. I'm going to release my mouse before releasing the control. Then I have made a duplicate. Let me undo that again. I have selected what I want to copy. I have brought my cursor to an edge round about my selection. I'm holding down my control. I'm clicking and dragging it, still holding the control. If it is here that I want to drop it, I will release my mouse first. I'm releasing it, and then finally I release the control. Let me undo this. If I hold this, now see I'm not holding the control button, but I'm clicking and dragging. I am moving it away from there. The entire selection is being moved. It is not copied. I drop it here. This place is empty. Let me undo and repeat that. I have done my selection. I want to move this away from here. I come here, I click and hold and drag without holding the control button. And when I release it, I've moved it. I undo that. But what I want is to make a copy. So I'm holding it, then pressing down my control, clicking and dragging it away. I'm going to release my mouse before releasing the control. That way, I am making a copy. Okay? Now, while working in Excel, I want this place to remain like this. I know that by now, you would guess that you can delete, you can do 2 operations, or you can do 7 operations to achieve this. The choice is yours. For me, I can do 1 operation to clear so that nothing will be here, not even the font, not even the write-up. I can click here, then I go to my clear here under editing. There is a drop down here. I click this. I clear all. All means all. All means all. I am clearing the writings. I am clearing the fields. I am clearing the underline, the italics, and everything. So when I clear, it clears. Some who do not know that, they want to delete, or they have done the deleting, and then they come here now and click no field. But if I type here again, that thing will still be there. That is one thing some people do not know. This is where I just did this. You say, but I say, okay, you did this, but you didn't go here to make this one automatic. You didn't go here to make this one to remove the italic. You didn't go here to remove the bold. You didn't go here to remove this, and then finally for you to delete. But with this, I'm coming down to my clear. I'm clearing everything with a click. So if I begin to type anything here, those things are not there. So people that do not know this, they want to go through the same process that they did to get to where they want to get to. All right. So with this, we want to take a break. And then when we come back, we'll discuss other things about Cell Basic, and then we go to the next topic. So thank you very much. And I would like to get feedbacks from you. And by the way, I want to let us know that while in Zoom, if you look at the bottom screen, at the bottom of your screen, you will see reactions. Okay? Reactions, you can either raise your hand, you can ask the person, please go slower, or you are going too slow, go fast, and then. So for instance now, you can raise your hand. When you raise your hand, then you'll be recognized. That is the way to make a session very, very interactive and very, very serene. So at this point, I'm going to ask